Welcome to the Creative Coaching Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Lopez Jr. Follow us on Twitter at CreativeCoach47 and on YouTube at Creative Coaching Podcast. Hope you enjoyed this episode, and thanks a bunch for listening. Welcome to the podcast, Coach.
Hi, thanks for having me again.
Yeah, it's a pleasure having you on, taking the time with us, and to follow up. I mean, we did this almost 5 years ago initially, and I was like, man, awesome, up and coming coach as an assistant coach, and here you are now as a head coach. So, I know your schedule's busy, and I know you got a lot to do with recruiting, camps, things of that nature. Always, there's never an off season, to be honest, right?
No,
Never
yeah.
an off season. So I do
Yeah.
appreciate your time, Coach. I really do.
Yeah.
Now, I want to ask you, Coach, about your experience now as a head coach. Now, it's been pretty. I guess it's a whole different world moving over, right? That seat, right? How's it been for you as far as like, about who you are and learn about who you are? What has this taught you now as being a head coach now for the last, was it 3 years, 4 years now?
What's it taught me? It's definitely been a different experience than my first go around. I was thinking about what you said uh, as far as about myself. I kind of miss being young and naive. I miss. I was 26-year-old head coach back then, just thinking we could take on the world and beat everybody, and I kind of miss that innocence as far as
Right.
my thought process. Because now, obviously, a little more experience in the thing, you just know more and you think about more. But it's been good. I mean, we're getting this thing off the right way. I'm really excited about what we're doing here and how we're doing it.
Yeah.
Very unconventional, but I have a lot of, I guess, proof in the pudding now, so to speak, for how we're doing things. So I'm excited.
That's awesome, Coach. Yeah. Sometimes that bit of naiveness and bright-eyedness, it helps because then you don't overthink things. And now if you have that coupled with the experience now,
Hmm.
it brings you to the place where you said doing the things the right way, because there's a right way to do things and there's definitely a wrong way. And you always want to just take things one day at a time, but also have a vision for your program. So within that, Coach, your vision for your program, how has that, I guess, evolved over the past couple of seasons? Has it stayed the same? Has you had to modify it? Just so like if our listeners are like saying, as a head coach now, do I keep the script from day one, or do I modify it in different ways?
You don't change what you believe in. Like, my core beliefs are just being competitive and having a lot of discipline. And again, there's such a temptation to want to lower the standard or bring things back, make it a little easier on the players because you don't want them to leave, you don't want them to quit. But I've truly stuck to it. And I've had a lot of, again, just proof in the pudding, so to speak, going into year 4, just finishing year 3 with 9 wanting to come back. It's like we're finally getting the right pieces in that are here for the right reasons. And I just truly believe in competitiveness
Yeah.
and discipline. That's just something I think maybe or maybe not coaches try and waver or try and go around, and I've just firmly believe you can't. And so that's just been my biggest thing and staying true to that.
Yeah. And you're still here again building even more so as you go on with the program. And that requires you to have that discipline and that stick to itiveness of what your non-negotiables are. Because you step back on one of those and you deviate from the plan, and man, they'll take a mile and they'll run with it and they'll be like, yeah, she ain't about that. She really ain't about that. She says that, but she's not. And so I think
Yeah.
that's the main thing. I mean, now that I've jumped onto the ladies side of things too, I've really learned that, like, man, when I say something, it better stick to it, dude, because not they're gonna hammer you and they're gonna remind you about it. And that's the thing, is you're dealing with young women and women that are just, they have their own goals too and their own vision of what's going to happen with their careers, and so you got to to whatever it is you sold them, I guess, on when you visited them or you talked to them before they transferred in. So you said
Mhm.
9 coming back. That's fantastic, coach. That's almost
Mhm.
I don't know. For a lot of people, that's like, wow, how does she do that? She's a magician or whatever. But yeah, so that's great, coach. Now I want to ask you, kind of on the in the same vein as like getting players to stay and come back. How's recruiting changed because of that
How's recruiting changed?
for you in particular?
For me, for me personally, it hasn't, to be honest, as far as how I go about things. I think what's changed is a lot of young people have a lot of voices coming at them,
Right.
and they're different answers of what it should be or what it should be done or how they should do this or how they could handle that. And that's what's changed, is trying to, I guess, for them is to figure out what's right for them. That's
Right.
what's changed for these young people. Is it's hard because they get so much advice from people who honestly are older or more experienced, but yet it's all different things coming at them. So for me, it's kind of interesting. Again, there's just a little bit more validation of the fact that we haven't changed here. We're not car salesmen. We're not trying to make things prettier than what they are, or, sweeter than what they might not be, as far as like just how you'll be coached by us. I mean, it's tough. It's really, really tough here
Yeah.
because, again, we're not faltering on anything, lazy pass, don't touch the line, like any of that stuff. We're not faltering. Like, you're running for it, right? That's the
Yeah.
discipline part that comes in. But that's what's changed, is just trying to let the kid understand like what's for them is for them, and trying to listen to their gut more. I guess you could say I have to be a little more patient,
Yeah.
as far as them making decisions, and that's fine. I mean, it's kind of always been what recruiting is, right? You just,
Yeah.
for me, it's just, this is who I am, this is who our staff is, this is what our university is about, and it's not a sell, it's really, really good product. So it's nice to, wear St. Mary's knowing these kids will leave here with that on their degree.
Yeah.
That's a pretty dang good thing that's
Yeah.
going to happen for them. So yeah, it's just about telling them what we're about, and then hoping that they don't get too lost in the sauce with all this, advice these kids are getting.
Yeah. To that point about the organization or the institution, I should say. My daughter, who's going to be a junior, she was invited to go to an accounting club
Mhm.
shindig out of St. Mary's, and man, just the people there that can help you, the alumni that were there was really strong,
Yeah.
and they're trying to
Yeah.
recruit my daughter already to go to St. Mary's because she's only going to be a junior.
Wow.
And I
That's
saw
good.
that, and hanging out with those type of people and the keynote speakers was just like, wow,
Hmm.
it's a special place.
Yeah.
And yeah, anybody that you would bring in could see it two different ways. That they're fortunate that you have them, and that they're fortunate that you wanted them. And I guess that's
Yeah.
kind of the way I would see it. So that's what I'm
Mhm.
hearing from you, and I believe it. And so that's great, Coach. Really
Mhm.
is good.
Yeah.
So now I want to ask you kind of about re-recruiting, right? Because you said 9 players. What was the key to that, and what are some non-negotiables as far as like, we're not going to do this to keep players, we got to do this to keep players, things of that nature, given the transfer portal and all of that other jazz.
Right. As far as keeping players, I don't know. I don't. We're just very organic in how we go about our business. It's just honest conversations. They're coming back. That's great. I don't worry. I'll put it this way. When we first got the job, right, we had an excellent player freshman of the year leave. And then I thought, oh my God, the world's going to crumble. And then year two, we got freshman of the year again. And then year three, it happened again. And so I've really come to learn. I mean, look, you don't want to convince someone to stay. You
Right.
just don't. You want people in the program that want to be there. And it's worked wonders for us. Again, the fact that they're all coming back, and just talking to them over the summer and talking to them in the off season has been amazing, as far as just our dialogue, because every single one of us is 10 toes in and we want to be there. And there's no blueprint for making sure it happens every year. I
Yeah.
mean, It's really just very organic. I'm just like, I'm here. You coming back? Let's do this. And uh, there's really no like, well, like, hey, if you want to go put your name here, go ahead. That's fine. Like, not here, not for me,
Yeah,
at least not yet. I'm not saying I'll never be that way, but it's just been so cool having not just the parent, the kid, but the parents backing, and
yeah,
maybe the high school coaches backing, and just you got to open up and have conversations with people throughout the year, and it just happens for us. And um, I just gonna continue to be that way, be very just transparent.
yeah,
You know, they know what they're gonna get because, like you said, women remember stuff.
for
So
sure.
the one time I might look away or might not discipline our star player, they will remember that
Yeah,
forever, and I'll never slip up on that. You could be averaging 30 minutes, 30 seconds, or not play at all. You'll get the same type of standard in coaching from us
yeah,
because I think when they see that, I guess you could say that's the re-recruiting. They know what they're going to get day in and day
yeah.
out, even into next season, you know.
I like that. Your culture is your re-recruitment, and that's fantastic. Yeah, and you're right. I've been married for 22 years, have four daughters. You're right. Women do not forget, for
No.
better or for worse.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Don't get caught slipping, man. You
Not at all. Believe me.
you got your hands full. Don't get caught
Happy wife,
slipping.
happy life, all that good stuff. My daughters too. They keep me on point.
That's
So
right.
yeah, coach. No, that's
Yeah.
great stuff. Now, I didn't think to bring this up, but when you're talking about your players recruiting, re-recruiting, the nine you have coming back, the international feel that you have to your team is really
Mhm.
impressive as well. And I think that's I had a coach tell me one time because when I was on the boys side, I had about three international players, and he kind of gave me some insight as to like, hey, be careful how many you bring in, 'cause it's a little difficult. How's it been for you, coach, as far as like those players, the international players, the buy-in, the cohesiveness, and all that?
It hasn't been difficult, and it's kind of interesting. The only thing that differentiates them is the country they're from, right? We see them just as people,
Yeah,
as they're teammates of our players, right? I think it's just been amazing because I love the diversity of our team, right? I mean, any player that comes here, it's just we're a diverse team. We come from all backgrounds, and I love that round orange ball can bring people from all over the world into this one locker room
yeah,
pursuing the same things, right? And again, we're human. So just because this crazy Spaniard came in the locker room with our Brazilian and our Australian, like at the end of the day, we're people,
yeah,
and they're really, really good people. Yeah, I mean, we found them the way we found them, and I will say this: I've said this many times to either high school coaches or players, maybe
yeah,
on these things is to our American players, right? The San Antonio kid, like they're not just competing for opportunities against kids in their district. Okay, you got
exactly.
first team district, that's great. Okay, all region, that's awesome. But just imagine wanting something so bad, you're willing to leave your family and friends and go across the world to get it. That's also who they're competing with,
Yeah,
because these international players have an amazing story and they've left their family. I tell them all the time I admire them for that. I don't know if I could,
right.
but they want this opportunity so bad. So to that point, you hope that that rubs off on maybe some other players, teammates that may or may not take the opportunity for granted.
Yeah,
Um, you don't typically see that with our international players, but again, everyone's human, everyone makes mistakes. But I just love the diversity of our team. I do love talking about different cultures or different languages and how we all differ, but at the end of the day, that round ball brings us together and we're just here for the same goals. So I love that. I love that aspect.
yeah. No, I do too. That's why I brought it up because I'm like, man, it's so cool to have that kind of like bringing that to the west side of San Antonio, right? I mean, like you think about it, like that's crazy. It's
Yeah.
really cool, and I think it definitely helps to see different perspectives on the world. and,
Hmm.
and never mind just the game of basketball, but the whole world and how things are, because we live in a kind of tricky, crazy world sometimes, and I think that helps a lot, uh, because you have those type of players. Like you said, I've worked with international players, and the one thing that sets them apart a lot of times is like they can't go back home without succeeding, and they
Yeah,
feel like I can't fail at this. Like I have to be good at this. I can't
sure,
come back home with my tail between my legs, so to speak. And,
sure.
and so I think there's just this kind of urgency with them sometimes,
Yeah,
uh, and I think it just helps to push everybody who's all involved. So that's great stuff, Coach. I'm glad that you're
absolutely.
experiencing it that way, and there's that diversity that's helping everybody get an experience more than maybe they thought they would have had. Now,
Hmm.
Coach, I want to ask you about staying ahead of the curve with your approach, because sometimes, things are changing all the time within the game of basketball as far as the college level. And maybe at the D2 level, things are not as, scary as they are at the D1. But I want to ask you, Coach, how do you stay ahead of the curve as far as your approach to building your program?
Again, I just there's really no secret sauce to it. It's sad. I kind of think it's a little sad in that just being completely transparent and straightforward is rare.
Yeah,
And I've just found that that's kind of what players gravitate to.
yeah,
And again, that's just how I've always been. I've been so blessed with parents that have been very transparent, very tough on me. I mean, again, discipline. Like my coaching is a direct reflection of how I was parented.
yeah,
And again, I pray to be a good parent in that way as well. So that's how I coach our players is kind of the way I was raised. And again, I'm just very thankful to have, parents that you didn't do what you're supposed to do, you're gonna catch this belt, but you didn't do that, you're gonna ground, you don't get to go to this place or um, just the high expectation and also
yeah,
the we don't feel sorry for ourselves. I tell our
yeah.
players this a lot, like we're not victims.
Right.
I don't ever want our players, especially young women, mostly minority women, like we're not gonna have a victim mentality.
At all, right?
And that was always kind of just I didn't those weren't the words used, but that's been ingrained in me growing up,
Yeah,
not feeling sorry for ourselves.
yeah,
And so, yeah, I guess it's again, I know you said stay ahead of the curve, but just being that way has allowed us to.
yeah,
I mean, I'm old school in that I still have like these standards and like I have these expectations that yes, young adults can act mature. They can make the right decisions. They can handle discipline. Um, but at the same time, I am a little new school in that I'll meet them where they're at. Right? They can play music in warm ups in practice. I mean, heck, I'm kind of tapping along to it too. It's fun. I like having fun.
yeah,
But when it comes to the real stuff, we're going to work.
yeah,
And it's silly, but it's I don't know. I don't know. Cliche is the word even because it's just rare that I think it happens. I think a lot of coaches put up a front, but yeah, I guess that's staying ahead of the curve is just
yeah,
just being real with them.
yeah. Being authentic, right? I think that's
Mhm.
one thing that young people will always see through if you're not being authentic. And then you talked about you coaching the way you were raised. I think
Yeah.
people can appreciate that, because then that means you care at another level, especially when parents are pushing you like you said they are. And then also, like, we're always looking for best practices, new things. AI is popping up everywhere. I mean, we got to look back sometimes to see what it is that we need to find that worked in the past. It could still work in the future. I mean, and I think that's what you're talking about, that old school approach that maybe other programs aren't implementing because they're trying to do too much to like bells and whistles and
Right.
smoke,
Right.
smoke screens and all that. And so
Right.
that's great, Coach. That definitely gives you that authenticity and the legitimacy, to where other coaches step into your practices. They're like, wow, okay, I respect this. I don't know if my team could go through this, but she's putting that team through it. Wow, that's cool. I respect that. You know what I mean? I mean, that's just
Yeah.
the realness of the situation. And
Yeah.
so it's something that you can, when you, years from now, when you retire, you'll say, you know what, I did it the right way. Maybe not my way, but the right way. And
Yeah.
that's really cool. I find a
Mhm.
lot of, I think I find a lot of, learning through that. Even when you're telling me that, I'm like, okay, maybe I need to. In my in my finite thinking, I'm still like, maybe I need to apply this to this practice, and because I'm always thinking about what can we do better, as a team, even in workouts, like what can we do better. So I like
Well,
that.
yeah, I mean, schematically, right? Those things change. Like basketball is like much like technology. Once you figured it out, it's changing, right?
Yeah,
But I've always felt like when you lead with integrity, and that doesn't mean you lead with perfection. No one's perfect. I
right.
make so many mistakes, right? But I can honestly say I can sleep at night just knowing we did what's best for the program,
Yeah,
right? And not everyone's gonna like it. I
yeah,
can't do what's best for 15 individuals, but I can do what's best for the program.
got
And
it.
if they're understanding of that, then it'll absolutely benefit our players and coaches and everyone involved, our university.
Yeah,
But you have to lead with just your integrity, whatever that may be defined for you. But I can honestly sleep at night just knowing that's just how we try and lead, is just keep that in the forefront. And I do believe success will happen like in the scoreboard too.
yeah. No, I mean, because success also can be defined in different ways and by different metrics. I mean, obviously, winning is one of them. Then you get to conference records, conference wins, all that stuff. But I think going back to the idea of understanding where they're at, you know, giving them that integrity. And not a lot of people will be integrous. I think the word is with them throughout their lifetime. And if you're that one person that showed them that in something that they loved and they enjoyed, man, you really invested a lot in them, and they'll pay it forward along the line. So, Coach, I want to ask you about what brings you joy about the game, because you've been playing, you played the game for a long time. You probably still try to get out there and mix it up a little bit every now and then, I'm sure, because the shot doesn't go away, the legs go away, the shot never goes away. I know that much. Being
Uh-huh.
45 now, my shot's still there. But
Mhm.
what brings you joy about this game, Coach? What about it? Just like, man, this is why I wake up every morning to do this.
Yeah, that question, I could keep you here for over an hour because there's just so many aspects to the game,
Right?
right? I'll start with the playing, right? Like I cannot go up and down with our girls, not a chance. But if you want to do some shooting games,
Yeah, yeah,
you can ask them, clock it. I hope they watch this, but yeah, I'll hand out some L's to them in some shooting games. But I love the competition.
yeah,
I miss playing. I really really miss playing. Um, that's why I tell them, please don't take this for granted.
yeah,
Enjoy it. Even to the younger players, the recruits. Like I know July can be pressure filled, but just
yeah,
enjoy playing basketball. It's so much fun. So I love the say from a coaching point now, right? This is the closest I can get to the game, and it's amazing. I love the X's and O's, the chess game. I can watch like I was just watching the Euro Cup championship with Spain and Belgium. I haven't got to the end. I saw the ending, but I mean, I'll find a random game from some random Euro League, when I want to. Just I love the schematics of it.
right, yeah,
I love the chess game as a coach. Like, okay, they did this, we countered there, they adjusted. So now let's try this. But then of course, I can also get into the fact that I love how you know, not to be cheesy, but just the stuff you learn through the game, it does kind of correlate to the real world. You're always going to have teammates,
yeah,
you're always going to have teammates. You always got to make each other better. Some are really good at one thing in their company and others really good in something else. And you really got to learn how to be a star in your role. And
yeah,
that's directly correlated from basketball to whatever endeavor our players choose. And I mean, it's just I could go on and on. I love everything about basketball. I love sports, but I mean the passion and the just the pure innocence of the game, right? And where it
yeah,
started to what it is now, like a billion-dollar, business. But I just love basketball.
yeah,
I love that you need your
mhm,
teammates to be
yeah,
successful. It's not
yeah,
tennis, it's not golf. You need to be led You need to
Yeah.
be a good leader, right? It's kind of like that back and forth. You
Yeah.
just need it, and it's just so directly correlated, in my opinion,
Yeah.
to the real world. So yeah, it's
Awesome.
just it's the best.
Yeah.
I
And
love the game.
yeah, on the note for that, like EuroLeague hooping, I mean, like I watch it, and sometimes the schematics of it, even fouling, is part of the scheme, and you
Yeah,
think to yourself, "What? Why did he foul right then and there?" It's part of the scheme to stop the run. I mean, little
yeah,
things like that, little nuances like that, that you're just like, man, European basketball is so different, but it's so good, and it's so
yeah,
fun to watch, and you can learn a whole lot. Slobs, blob, everything. It's just different, and so yeah, and the passing is phenomenal. But
yeah,
in any event, yeah,
yeah,
that's I dig that completely about the game, the European game like that. But so coach, I mean, I could go on and on about that too because I like to watch a lot of.
yeah.
I guess I would say not. Uh, I guess basketball that most people wouldn't watch. I guess right. You would say
Yeah.
a lot of people wouldn't tune into that. It's not
Well,
getting.
maybe no one in the States, but
Yeah,
man, you see the crowd in
yeah,
those arenas for women's basketball. I mean, it's amazing. And again, I love talking about it with our
yeah.
players because we do have internationals that, I mean, I'm watching some training from a recruit and she's 16, they're going over pistol action and
Wow.
their workout. And I'm just like,
Yeah,
I wish our kids were, kind of taught the game a little bit more here, but um, yeah, I could go on and on about
yeah,
that whole side of things, but um, it's just I just love the game. I love that it can be played. Italy here, um, Argentina,
yeah,
France. Like it's just that's what I love about basketball. It's just
yeah,
global too.
yeah.
That's what connects all of us. I think it's.
It travels. It travels a lot. Some things don't travel very well. Like I love football, American football, but you can't play
Yeah,
it everywhere. That's just how
yeah,
it goes, unfortunately.
yeah.
Now, Coach, I want to ask you about kind of refocusing or recalibrating sometimes, I guess your why, but also kind of like you go through certain seasons and you're looking back saying, man, had we just done this? Had we just done that? Had I done a better job of, this or that? How do you refocus or recalibrate your why, like getting back to your why if some things didn't go right for the next season?
Hmm. Right. The why, as far as like why we do this, that doesn't need to be recalibrated, just because that's just genuinely
Hmm.
what wakes me up in the morning, is just getting to do this thing called basketball,
Yeah,
right? And then again, you get to teach through the game, you get to hold people accountable, and see kids achieve things they never thought they could, and then they come to your program and you're like, you want to make them that much better as young adults. But yeah, recalibrating, like I told you, I kind of missed, because that question got me thinking. I do miss when I was again, young idiot 26-year-old head coach who knew nothing,
yeah,
didn't even know what I didn't know. Yeah, I just didn't know nothing, right? I just wanted
right.
to compete and win. And I miss having that innocence of it. And now, we're in a league where it's like, oh, so and so's nationally ranked, so and so's been here, so and so's made it there in years prior. And that kind of gets in your head. And
Yeah,
it's like it doesn't change the fact that you want to go out and compete and whoop their tail, but I just I'm definitely recalibrating back to that. Going into
yeah,
this season, especially just specifically for this upcoming season, I appreciate that question, because that's really got me like, I miss having that. I don't even know who we're coaching or playing against. Let's just go. That
yeah,
ball doesn't know either. Let's just go compete and
yeah,
beat their tail. And I had that when I
yeah.
was young and dumb and coaching at LSU Shreveport, right? I mean, small example, Cheryl Miller was the head coach at Langston.
Wow.
And again, unbelievable experience being able to coach against her programs. They were nationally ranked. And yet my young tail was just like, so who cares? And I kind of miss having that
Yeah,
little dumminess in my head. Now I have too much respect for all these daggum successful coaches. So
yeah,
I'm definitely gonna try and steal some of that essence. And again, it's you don't lose any respect for a single opponent, but
right.
I do miss that. But yeah, as far as the why is concerned, you kind of get this like confirmation of
Yeah.
things throughout coaching. I just got a Facebook message from a former player and said, "Hey, this kid. You know, she's in Australia. This kid joined one of her leagues. She's going to college in the States. She's like, you should look at her." Another message from a former player. We were just talking. She just left St. Mary's. Yeah, I love that kid. She said, I said, whenever you get married and have kids, let me know because I want to coach them. They'll probably be 6'5". And she said, I would love for my kids to play for you one day. And that meant a
Awesome.
lot. But then she
Yeah.
followed that up with, it's going to have to be a full, we'll need it in writing. But um, that's exactly the rapport I have with these kids, man. That was hilarious.
That's
So
fantastic.
you kind of get these confirmations
Yeah.
of your why. And
Yeah.
I can't even pinpoint exactly why this just gets me going.
Yeah.
I think about our players a lot.
Yeah.
I do miss them when they leave for the summer. Hopefully, no one don't tell them that I said that, but I do miss them a lot when they leave, and when they come back, it's like there's the why, right? You
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
things they say on the day to day, and again, I slip up sometimes and say kids, but they're young
Yeah.
adults.
For sure.
I treat them like that.
Right.
We hold them that expectation. But again, it's kind of nice to be young and dumb sometimes and just go
For sure.
hoop and have fun. And
Yeah.
that reminds me of like why this is so fun, just being
Yeah.
around that innocence. I like that.
It's like seeing yourself at that age, and
Yeah.
it's like working with who you were in,
Yes.
in that.
That's a good way to put it. I
Yeah.
like that a lot.
Yeah. It rejuvenates you in a sense
It does.
because those experiences, you're sharing those experiences with them now,
Mm-hmm.
and bus rides, the plane rides, all those different rides, the
Mm-hmm.
locker room, and people over embellishing stories, and you're like, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that nothing beats that. Nothing beats being around young people who really don't know anything, and you're
Yeah.
just like, yeah, you don't know what you're talking about at all, and you just wait, and you want to be there for the just wait. You know what I mean? When they go through that, you want to be
Mm-hmm.
there to help them process that because
Mm-hmm.
they're going to need somebody to kind of guide them through it. But yeah, that's one of the best parts of the game is just the people. That's it, and the
Mm-hmm.
experience you have with them.
Yeah.
Now, Coach, I want to ask you about your team and what would you want to convey to them right now? Because you've already started to kind of go through those emotions about I miss them, things of that nature. But if they were standing in front of you right now, how would you convey how you feel about them?
Yeah. I the greatest, in my opinion, the greatest as a coach, the greatest form of love is discipline. I
Yeah,
just think, again, they're coached how I was raised. There's zero excuses. There's no pity party. I've said this to them. Sometimes injuries are part of the game. Like setbacks are part of life,
yeah,
right? You have to find your way through, but you're never going through it alone.
yeah,
That's the best part of basketball. And so, yeah, I mean, it wasn't easy upbringing, right? It was
yeah,
tough. It was blue collar. It was, you don't have all these fancy, shiny things, and we're not going to have that at St. Mary's, although we do have great stuff, but it's more about just the essence of being together.
yeah.
It's I still talk to some of my teammates. I do.
Wow.
And they're just the greatest thing. And we're proud of each other, right?
Yeah,
Like one's a lawyer, one's an administrator, one's a PT, right? Like
yeah,
I want them to remember that like there's something bigger than ourselves, right?
yeah,
We're not selfish about how we go about our business. We're not bigger. There's no singular person bigger than the program. And so as long as we always just kind of keep thinking, like get over ourselves
yeah,
and just put others first and like just allow this just to make us better because they make me better, right? It's not just me giving them this handbook of life. That's not how coaching works in my opinion. I
yeah,
don't know all the answers, but yeah, I genuinely love who's coming back and who we're adding, and that's the best part is like as a coach we get to kind of like form the puzzle. We get to
right,
choose the puzzle pieces
yeah,
and make it our own. So
yeah,
yeah, I'm excited and I think we're going to do really really good things this year too.
yeah.
Every
Um,
year it's gotten a little bit better, and I think that's going to happen again in year 4.
yeah. I believe it, Coach. I appreciate your time, Coach, so much. Your genuineness, your authenticity. That's why I asked you in the first place when we saw each other back in April at the Latino Association, Coaches Basketball Association, and it
That's a
was like,
great
man,
organization.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's great, great organization. The I don't know, shout out to Jason Ludwig for that because
Yeah.
man, the vision behind that is so strong. Like I sat
Mhm.
there and I was listening to Gary Acosta talk, and I'm like, yeah, let's go right now. Let's do something
I
right
thought
now.
that too. I felt like I just had like boosters in my back ready to go after that. Was pretty amped up after
Yeah.
that
And I'm
event.
not, and I don't say I'm not inspired easily, but I'm not. And because I'm used to being the one inspiring, right? Like having to like, come on, guys, it's so I think being in a room full of leaders, being listening to that type of leader himself was really
Yeah.
like, wow, I think we all feel that same sense of purpose and mission. So
Yeah.
here again, Coach, appreciate you so much. Like I said, you being you, continue to do that. It's working great. And I look forward to the success you'll have this season, Coach.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am.